Today I wanted to talk about Zoodiacs. I just built this deck. I made it as like a going second deck, so this is kind of be like kind of a deck profile for it. I've been testing it a little bit. I'm still not quite used to the meta with Adamancipator and Eldritch variants running all over the place. But I'm trying to build something that kind of hits them both, and hopefully this is a start. I'm still testing ratios a bit, but hopefully it'll evolve as I become a better player, of course. But I'll get right into the deck profile. So run 3 copies of Thoroughblade. This is mandatory for your combos, your setups. You also run it with 3 Ram. You want to see these in your opening hand if you can. You want to see a Thoroughblade and a Ram as soon as possible so you can get your combos going better. You need a Ram in the grave, and then you can go into a Megaclops, and there's another spicy tech in here that I'm trying out. Then I play 3 Whiptail. It's like kind of an interruption almost with, like it could get rid of problem monsters. I shouldn't say it's an interruption. It has a quick effect. You could attach it to another zoo monster, and it lets you banish up an opponent's monster that it battles with. So that's pretty neat. And then instead of Ratpier, I'm playing 1 copy of Bunny Blast. It lets you add your zoo monsters from grave back to your hand if it's destroyed by battle or card effect. So it's kind of like a recursion. Also, I'm not a big fan of Rat at 1 because even though you can get your combo in the graveyard, you're using your normal summon or your special summon to do that. I'm not really a big fan of it. I don't think Ratpier has a lot of, like, because it's at 1 right now, I don't think it has a lot of utility besides that, so I wasn't a fan of using it. I like Bunny Blast a little bit better. So the hand trap monsters, I play 3 Ash, 2 DD Crow, and 2 Effect Veiler. Pretty standard hand trap lineup. I know some zoo decks prefer to use more trap cards instead of like hand trap monsters, but I like the hand traps. I'm just more comfortable playing with them. And because this is a going second deck, I didn't really want to run too many traps if I didn't have to. And here's the spicy tech I've been using. So I play 1 copy of Neos and 1 copy of Rainbow Dragon. This could be a Rainbow Dark Dragon, but I like not having dark monsters to use in case I'm running against a deck like Plunder Patrol, which they can use the dark attribute better. The patrol ship Mark. I use these to go into Rainbow Neos. And to go into Rainbow Neos easier, you could go into Verte Anaconda. Play 1 Barrage. Really wish they kept it at 3, but I would understand why they didn't. I would understand why they brought it to 1. It's really powerful, really good engine starter. 3 Tenki to search out any zoo monster that you have. 3 Pot of Avarice. It's really good with recursion in this deck because you get monsters in the graveyard pretty fast. That's why I play 3 of it. I have 3 Dark Ruler No More, 3 Lightning Storm, and 3 Called by the Grave. The Called by the Grave is mainly a going first card, but the other 2 are going second cards because you want to be able to deal with their boards that they make and break it however you can. Lightning Storm, I chose to main it over Cosmic Cyclone because of stuff like Eldritch. I know they have like a lot of back row, and the Dark Ruler No More is good against like monster boards that Adamancipator can make and dinos and all that other stuff. So I wanted to hit those pretty hard. And then I'm playing the 1 copy of Neos Fusion for Verte Anaconda. Play the 3 Infinite Impermanence as like a hand trap, and 1 Zoodiac combo. I'm only playing 1 combo. I know some decks play like more than 1, but I really don't like playing more than 1. I think it bricks. So the extra deck, I'm playing the 1 Trident, because you have to. It's amazing. I'm playing 3 Chakanine. I think 3 Chakanine is correct, even in this deck. I think it's the most important Zoodiac monster. It just helps you generate advantage, and it helps you link climb even. And I think for that reason, it's the most important one at the moment. And you have 2 Tigermortar. 2 Tigermortar for the Megaclops combo. And then I'm only playing one Boarbow and one Hammerkong. I think these are the least important ones. I think they're just names, really. But sometimes the Hammerkong helps your Trident stay alive if you can get 2 monsters out. I know it's helped me a few times, but it doesn't come up that often. Really, they're just for names. But for the rest of the extra deck monsters, I'm playing one Rainbow Neos, of course, because it's that piece you can go into. It could wipe out their monsters. It could wipe out their spells and traps. It could shuffle all their graveyard cards back into the deck. It really answers those 3 things, and it's also a big beater, which is good for this deck, because all the zoo monsters don't really have high attacks. So it helps you get over problem monsters in that respect as well. Then I have one copy of Gravity Controller. It also helps to make Pot of Avarice live, and it could remove some problem monsters that are in the extra monster zone. One IP Masquerena helps you link climb. It's come up a few times, especially for the last 2 cards in my extra. There's a Predaplant Verte Anaconda, which you use to go into Rainbow Neos. I play the one copy of Megaclops, which is kind of like this deck's boss monster. It's unaffected by other monster effects that are not Xyz monsters, and it can't be destroyed by battle unless it's by an Xyz monster. And then it also has an effect where if you target one of your opponent's cards and an Xyz monster in your graveyard, you special summon the Xyz monster and you attach the opponent's card to it as a material. And that's great. Even though you're losing half of your damage for that turn, it's still a great effect for removal. I think it's really good for this deck. I think it's a staple. If you're playing Zoodiac, it's a staple. And then the last 2 cards, I play one Appaloosa and one Avarice. And they're good for like defensive strategies. Like I've link climbed into an IP and then I went right into Avarice, and it helped me win a game before. The next stuff I'm going to show you is the side deck. Again, it's probably going to change by the day, but right now this is what I'm testing and I'm comfortable with it. So I'm playing 3-Dimensional Shifter, and I was going back and forth between this and Different Dimension Ground. I also side 3 Cosmic Cyclone. This is for situations where if you don't need the Lightning Storm, or if you feel like you're going to have boards set up before you have to deal with their back row or whatever. Or maybe it comes up later in the game. 2 Mystic Mine. Mystic Mine is an annoying little card, and I feel like Zoodiac can play around it. So in certain situations this does come up, and it's really pissed off some of my opponents. You gotta do what you gotta do. 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance. That's mainly for like pendulum decks. Dimensional Fissure. No, sorry, Dimensional Barrier. Dimensional Barrier, this is also good for pendulum matchups, but it also hits stuff like Shadal's. That's another situational thing, but I've liked it when it came up. And then the last card, I play 3 copies of Evenly Matched, and this is another kind of like blowout card going second. I like switching it in sometimes for cards like Called by the Grave, mostly, but it's usually been Called by the Grave, but sometimes, try to side out different things to catch the opponent off guard. So I haven't made a deck profile in a while, so I got kind of rambly, but if you guys have any questions, I'll try to respond in the comments. Thanks.